Okay, welcome back to the daily vent. So, this next note is a short one, so hopefully I will be able to get through it very quickly. So, in the time of the authoritarian creep, can you afford to tune out? So by creep here, I mean like not a creepy individual, but like the emergence of something. So like the authoritarian creep, as in we're getting closer and closer to authoritarianism, or authoritarianism is creeping up on us, so to speak. And so can you afford to tune out? This is essentially just about paying attention and not just checking out of what's going on. And you could debate about whether it matters or not to pay attention to what's going on. Like there might be some views in like the Christian community about how like we shouldn't focus on anything that's going on in the world kind of thing, and there might be merit to that. You know, like maybe I'm wrong, but I think at least on a personal level, I want to know the truth about what's going on. It doesn't mean I want to see everything that's going on, because I don't, but I want to know the truth about what's going on. But at the same time, you also have to ask yourself, and I'll probably make a more long-winded video about this at some point in the future, but I'll say this for now. Do you want the whole truth, or do you want simpler times? Because you may not be able to get both. And I'll probably elaborate on that more in the future, but just think about what that might mean in light of all of like the crazy stuff that keeps coming out about different individuals and bad groups and etc., etc. But anyway, moving on to the topic at hand, can you afford to tune out? The simple answer is probably not, at least if you value your country, your freedoms, your way of life, potentially, in various ways, or at least the way of life that you have now. Because it's even like I was talking with somebody I know a while ago, and they described our place that we live, like the area that we live, as like our bubble, right? Because it's kind of far away from a lot of other places. And like that's true that it is a bubble, but at the same time, if we do nothing, will it remain a bubble for much longer? Because it's almost like, I kind of want to use a Lord of the Rings reference here, where it's like when Merry says to, or when Pippin says to Merry, it's okay, we got the Shire. And then Merry says back to Pippin something like, if we don't win this war, there won't be a Shire, Pippin. Something like that. And it's like that kind of hits home, where it's like, if people do nothing perpetually, and it's not even that you have to do anything crazy, but just like be reasonably informed and just like, I guess, understand the truth about what's really going on or whatever, to whatever extent is reasonable or is warranted for the responsible behavior of a citizen. I could kind of maybe describe it as stewardship. That's like more of a Christian principle. But like, what does it mean to be a good steward over the society that we've been given? What is our responsibility to be good citizens? Do we have a responsibility as Christians to be good citizens? What does that look like? So, because if you do nothing forever, then maybe don't be surprised if you end up with nothing in the end. Right? So, and you could ask yourself, like, is it worth it? Right? Like, because isn't like, I'm going to see who made that quote. He who plants trees in whose shade he knows he will never sit. My typing is kind of wild today. Okay. The quote, "He who plants trees in whose shade he knows he will never sit," is a profound expression of selfless dictation and long-term thinking. It describes So who said this? Who said? Who plants trees? Based on the private search results, there are multiple quotes and variations of the phrase. The original quote and its author are disputed. My goodness. Nelson Henderson, one source attributes the quote to Nelson Henderson. Nelson Henderson, a Canadian farmer, that's funny. Indian poet, philosopher. The one who plants trees knowing that he will never sit in their shade has at least started to understand the meaning of life. No, that's not what I'm talking about. I thought it was like Thomas Jefferson. Dating back to the ancient Roman and Greek writings, the Roman statesman Marcus Tullius Cicero credited Caecilius Statius with the expression. I might have butchered those words, but okay, some Greek stuff. I think he plants trees which will be of use to another age. He plants trees which will be of use to another age. This idea was also present in Thomas Fuller's 1732 collection. Okay, so maybe it wasn't Thomas Jefferson that said it, but it's like, I think somebody said it. So whoever said it, I think the point of this is like the delayed gratification, where it's like kind of maybe it's about sacrificing for the future. Like, he who plants trees in whose shade he knows he will never sit. That's probably like a certain kind of mentality to do that, right? Like the sacrificing or laboring for future generations. And like, how many of us think like that, right? It's kind of like a selfless sort of mindset. And so if we tune out from everything going on, are we planting trees in whose shade we know we will never sit? Or by being informed, are we planting trees in whose shade we know we will never sit? Like, because if we just like tune out and continue to do nothing, like all the time, is that leaving a better future for our children or a worse future? And, to what degree are we responsible for trying to make things better or trying to, help our kids to have a better future, right? Ideally, a better future than we had. And that probably takes a degree of selflessness to actually like build into that. So what are we all about? What should we be doing? It's a good question. Stay informed to the degree that is reasonable or to the degree that is warranted. Ask questions. Think. My goodness, think. Because if we don't, what will happen? And are we any better off for it if we don't? I would wager not, or I would say we are not better off if we do not keep informed. Because just look at how the tides may be turning because of people waking up and getting informed and kind of hopefully acting and doing what is right. And you could ask yourself, what is right? What should we be doing? Like even if you are informed about what's going on, now what do you do? Because like, okay, you know what's happening. Now what do you do about it? And that is a good question. Seek God for the answer.